So in this video I'll be talking about how the skateboarding industry makes money and how companies that sell merchandise also use your money to make different kind of events and where all that money goes to and how different contracts also work. So the easiest and simplest one to explain in the skateboarding industry is skate shops. And very simply, it's not that many employees. It's pretty small, unless it's like Zoomies where they're a huge distributor. But most of the time, it is small, simple. All they got is got their employees and their brand. So the easiest one that I could explain is Second Nature, which is an indoor skate park, also a skate shop which has their own Second Nature gear. So in Second Nature, you have the boss or CEO of the skate shop. Now, the CEO makes his own clothing, his own brand, which is now marked as Second Nature. That's the name of his brand. So now that he wants to sell his brand, what he has to do is buy clothing. So what he does is he spends money to buy clothing and put his label Second Nature. So as a consumer, this is what you do. You go into the skate shop, you buy some shirt with their name on it, and now you gotta pay them or the employee $25, let's say. Now that money now goes to the boss. Now here how this works. Since the boss has the money, he can't keep all of it. He will only keep a certain amount. So what he has to do is now he has to pay this guy, the middleman, because he's the one working at the skate shop. So he'll probably give him $5. And now he keeps the rest, $20. But that $20 is not even $20 because he still has to pay for the merch and pay for the skate shop because you have to pay rent. Like that. So what he probably has in his pocket is $10 because he puts $5 for the merchandise, and then he has to put another $5 towards rent at the end of the month, which he has to add on to. Then $5 to his employee, and then that's how your $25 works usually. That's the simplest way to explain it. Now, if you're going corporate, where there is like a whole bunch of different chairmen and different CEOs and whatever, that's when things start getting more complicated with contracts and shit like that. So the easiest brand that I could think of to describe and most popular is Nike. And the way Nike makes money is by selling shoes and apparel, but 80% of the time the profit comes from selling shoes. So selling shoes, and the way you have it in Nike is you have a bunch of different people working. You have a bunch of people that are CEOs or founders of the company, and now they have to get paid for their time. So this is how your money works when you're giving money to Nike. So the way that it works is, let's say you go into Nike and you buy a pair of shoes. And those shoes cost $100. And that is saying lightly because some shoes are worth a lot more. So you go into Nike, you pay for the shoes. Now that $100 goes into the management. This is not the CEOs, because the CEOs, they don't care. They're not gonna be wasting their time um, calculating how much money they make in a per day or whatever shop they have, because each shop has their own um, amount that they have to produce, so that they could keep the shop, so they could pay rent, etc. So this goes to management and for management. Now, management has to pay these workers too, and the rest of that money now goes to different distributions, because Nike is a huge corporation which they have different objectives to make their brand more marketed so they could promote. So what this goes into is treasury. So treasury is where they keep all the money and they calculate all the profits that they made. Now, treasury, well, before I actually get into treasury, now this is where the CEO comes in, because they're the ones that decide what they want to do with that money, but they're not there to be calculating it. So what the CEO does is they try to find out what they want to use that money. So of course, maybe like 10% goes to them, or 20%. They decide because they're the CEOs and they could do whatever. But they could be like, I want to produce more skate events, I want to produce more shoes, I want to produce whatever. So what the treasury does is they distribute all that money. So that $100 now is here. Now they have to go back and pay the skate shop manager and the worker. So $10 goes to the management, and now 5 of that bucks goes to, no, sorry. Now another $10 goes to the employee. And this is, I'm just saying $10 is not actual because Nike makes a lot more money and whatever. So now what you have here is $80. So now all of this has been covered. The employer, the management of a Nike shop, they're the ones that already got their money. They're happy, making a living. So now the treasury has $80. And now that $80 has to be distributed among the CEO, whatever events they're producing, their skaters, their filmmakers, whatever. So now they're going to do probably 10% to the CEO, which would be $8 CEO. And that's then divided amongst the CEOs. So if there's 5 CEOs, then the 5 get divided by whatever. Now stepping away from the CEOs, now we gotta go to skate events. So skate events, they could probably have 10%, another 10% for the event. So skateboarding event, another $8. But what they need is probably $100 to start that event. So what they got to do is sell more shoes, sell more products, so they could be able to create that event, so they can market their brand, and so other skaters could see that they're the better brand to buy or whatever. So $8, but that's only $8 out of 10. Sorry, $8 out of 100. Now another percentage, 20%, goes back to material for the shoes. So that's, I think, like $10, or let's see, 8%. 10% is $8, so $16 goes to, oh shit, $16 goes to material. Now they got also pay for the filmers and skaters. Which would be another 20%, so 16 bucks. Now this is this is just one sport, but if you put in basketball, tennis, all the other sports that Nike's involved in, and it gets a lot more complicated. But in the end, the CEOs are still making money because they have to. Next thing that they could also be giving money to is also giveaways to market their brand. Most of these are just to market their brand, so this guy can make more money. So the next one would be giveaways or stuff that they give away online or whatever. That could be like another 10 bucks that they give there. Skate trips, which would go on to skate filmers, but this is probably just another side business that they're doing. So another 10 bucks go there. And that's how this would normally work in a huge corporation with a lot of levels to it. So you got the top, which is the CEO, then you got the mid, which is the treasury, which controls the money. Then you got the management of each shop of Nike. Then you have the consumer, which is us. Now we're all the way at the bottom. They don't care. They only care about marketing their brands, and the way they do it is just put money aside and try to create an event or a skate trip or whatever to market their brand. Now, situation with pro skaters, because pro skaters are a little bit different in the sense that when a pro skater gets on a team, so we'll use Nike again. So I'll put Nigel because he just got on Nike or whatever. So if he wants to be on Nike, what they have to do is they gotta make a contract. Now in that contract, depending on what it says, profits of pro models go to the pro skater because you're using his name as a brand. Now the percentage and all that is all negotiable, and I've seen from Nike they use Stefan Janowski's and Nigel's as the most popular brand because Nigel has a huge popularity following, and Stefan Janowski's shoes are remarkable. Like, they feel very comfortable. So let's say Nigel and Nike make a contract, which they did. I don't know what it says in that contract. That's probably business privacy type stuff. So I'm just gonna assume. So for every shoe that Nike sells, Nigel gets 10%. So now that he's getting 10%, the trader is not going to be getting $80 anymore. They're going to be getting maybe $70 or $72 actually. So Nigel gets 10% for every shoe that is sold with his name on it. Now, as a consumer, you buy Nigel's shoe, and now you pay for it. Same thing goes to the worker, worker goes to management, management goes to the treasury and whatever. Now, let's say you spend $100 on the shoe. Now, Nigel, who's going to be over here, gets 10% of that shoe, which is $10. And this is non-negotiable. They have to pay him out. And then the rest of the money, which is $90, goes to treasury. Now, this could get a lot more complicated, again, based on the contract. But if Nigel sells more than, let's say, 100 shoes, that's $100,000 or $10,000. We said that, let's say Nigel sold 100 shoes, and Niger gets 10% of those shoes, which would be $10, and that goes to Niger. I would put NH, Niger Houston. So now, in that contract, there could be something like a cap limit, which means Niger can't take a certain amount after a set amount. So if Niger made $10, but the cap limit is $5, that $5 is the only amount that Niger could take. So the extra, or I should say the rest of the money, the extra $5, still goes to Nike. But what they could do with that $5 is they could either put to skate events, put them to skate trips, whatever. Based on the contract, it could be negotiable, but still in the end, it still goes to Nike, and Nike could do whatever with that money, if not negotiated. So let's say Niger makes $10,000, but the cap is $8,000. Nike still gets that $2,000 in between. And so no matter how many pairs, if you buy, let's say, 2,000 pairs of shoes, which is $100, which would be like 200,000, you're now paying Niger, or I should be saying you are now paying Nike, not Niger, because there was a cap limit set, and it's not publicized to the public how much it was or what the contract was negotiated. So with the way Niger's been living, with his new apartment and stuff, Niger's cap limit is probably $2 million. And based off selling his shoes, he probably makes even more. That's pretty much putting it nicely. I could say that he could definitely make more based on SLS and whatever. But just based off Nike, his cap limit is probably $2 million. And if you make, or if Nike makes $2.5 million off his shoe, he now that 500,000 goes to Nike. And again, they could put it to whatever. CEOs will actually make a lot of profit off it. And if actually, I forgot one more in the distribution circle, is they could actually use this money to produce new colorways. So that way it could promote more, promote the brand more, and if it promotes the brand more, they make more money, which goes back into a cycle and keeps going around and around and around, and until we end up broke and Nike has all the money. And that's usually how skateboarding industry works, and this is like the more complex corporation version of it. The simplest version is the skate shop, but this is more like the complicated version. So that's pretty much it. Thanks guys, later.